So what I wanted to go over is some angle basics, how to measure them, how to name them, things like that. So an angle is basically measuring how wide apart these two segments are. And the way that we name them, one way is you can name it with the index. So sometimes you'll see like a little number inside here or a letter. So one way to refer to this angle is angle 8. And that refers to how wide apart these two segments are. You can also refer to an angle by its vertex. The vertex is the point where those two segments meet. So that would be R. R is the vertex of this angle. So you can call this angle R. And then also, especially when there's a lot of angles that are next to each other, a lot of times we use 3 letters to name the angle. And the key thing about that is you want to kind of draw it into the vertex and then out. So the way you'd name it is G to R to B as the angle. So angle G going to R and then to B. Or if you wanted to, you could do the reverse order. So that'd be B to R to G. Angle B to R to G. Okay. So the way that we measure angles is with this tool called the protractor. And when we're talking about the measure of angle R, a lot of times instead of writing out measure, we'll just put this little lowercase m. So the m, the measure of angle R. And the way that you'd find that amount is you would use this protractor. And so the way it works is step 1 is you want to line up the crosshair. So you see this part here, the middle where this meets, the vertical line and horizontal line. Line that point right here with your vertex. Second thing is you want to line up the baseline, so that's the bottom, so that it's nice and neat. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it. So see this here, I put the middle of this protractor right on that point, and I want to match up this line here. And then from there we can measure, starting at 0, how far this angle goes. So this angle splits right through here. And you can see that there's 2 sets of numbers. To measure this, go to the baseline and start at 0. See, this one starts at 0, this one starts at 180. So start at 0 and then go all the way to where this angle stops. So right here between 70 and 80, it looks like it's about 75, maybe a little bit more, so I'll say 76. So the measure of that angle R is 76 degrees. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. So if I'm going to measure this angle AWR, same thing. I put this center right on the vertex, and I put the bottom right against one of the lines. Start at 0, not at 180. Start at 0, and then going up through 10, 20, 30. It looks like it's 31 to 32 degrees. So you can call that 32 degrees. Another thing that we measure besides angles is the lengths of pieces of lines or line segments. So if I was to measure from W to A, okay, we would call that WA. Starts at W and finishes at A. I'm going to use centimeters. So that's this one here. Starting right where 0 is, right at that line. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it. Starting right there, and then finding out where does that segment finish. So right here at A. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5.6. 5.6 centimeters. Okay, the length of segment WR, so with this little line here, that means the piece of line that goes from W to R. So the length of W to R, we can also measure. So I'm going to use my centimeters, match this right up where that point is for W, and then find out where R ends. So counting the centimeters, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It finishes right here, right about 8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 8.7 centimeters. 8.7 centimeters. So that's how you measure angles. You use the protractor, put it right, the center right at the vertex, and match this bottom line with this bottom line. Step 3 is to start at 0 and see how far it goes. When you measure segments, we're going to use the ruler starting at 0 and finishing at the end of that segment.